Hey, this is Jeff. Welcome back to Coito Ergo Sum, Let's Talk More Action, a series which is based on the life of Elvis Presley. In that, Elvis was once featured on a U.S. postage stamp, and Courier Jeff was once in the delivery business. Last week, we started Kekata's tour of the Mojave with some impressive sights, but mixed reactions.
Why don't they put windmills on those bluffs? Oh, right. Too exposed. Enemy artillery could cut off water and power with the first salvo.
Oh my God, a woman who likes to talk about renewable energy and military history. It's a little bit early to be throwing around the L word, but...
What is it?
I think this relationship could get very serious very quickly. We should discuss a few things.
You mean so far you've just been toying with me?
I'm serious. If you don't have any church or state in the valley, how do you handle, say, marriage?
My people are pathologically fair. We don't need oaths or contracts.
You mean you want to keep seeing other men?
I can't rule it out absolutely, but I've put a lot of men through the screening process. You're the first to get this far, so statistically speaking, I'd say probably not.
That seems like it takes an exceptional amount of trust.
If you wouldn't accept my word without a judge or a priest as a witness, it would mean you don't think my word is worth very much. That is not a sound basis for a partnership.
What about children? They need to be protected.
DNA is more powerful than laws or gods. If it can't protect them, nothing can.
That actually does make a little bit of sense, but DNA can't protect them from raiders or death claws.
Sorry, I thought you were following, so I skipped ahead a bit. So look, plants don't have a conscious reproductive strategy. Without people to make choices for them, their genes combine randomly and they evolve by pure trial and error. It works, but it's slow and brutal. People have choices. Do I want my children to inherit genes from someone who provide and protect them while they're vulnerable? Or do I choose genes that will benefit them more as adults and make my own arrangements for resources and security until they grow up? It's not an easy choice. If one of those strategies was consistently more successful, the other would have died out thousands of years ago. But whatever choice you make, if you don't make it consciously, you're no better than a plant.
Wait, are you saying you believe in eugenics?
Of course not. Breeding people the way I breed plants would give their children a competitive advantage over my own. My history teacher called it a crime against humanity, but it's worse than immoral. It's irrational.
You do think it's immoral, right? So you choose the mate who gives your descendants the best chance to thrive.
Exactly.
That may be the least romantic thing I have ever heard a woman say. And I am absolutely okay with that.
Well, Saffron may be content with Jane Austen, but Jane Austen never read Darwin, did she?
So basically, you just want me for my DNA. And I am absolutely okay with that too.
No, not at all. I enjoy the conversation, and the view is pretty nice too.
Then I look forward to contributing my genes.
I look forward to extracting them.
Excellent. Okay, let's get going.
See you soon.
All right, it's time to show her what I do for a living. I've kind of been throwing relationship litmus tests at her to see if this has a future, and so far so good. She wasn't freaked out that I murdered Benny and immediately started working with Yes Man to take over New Vegas for myself. She didn't seem to care much for the Legion. Really, I don't either. But she really seems to like the Great Khans, and I do too. So let's see what she thinks about what Larry Slater called the 3 Ps. Prostitution, pornography, and pole dancing. Oh, poor Anders is still crippled from being crucified by the Legion.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Jack. I assume Diane told you she posed for Lollipops magazine? I haven't printed it yet, but I'll make sure you get a copy. Anyway, ever heard of He3? It's basically the same thing, but with male models.
Dude, delicious.
Want to be in it? My studio is like literally right over the hill from the main camp.
Right on. Let's make the magic happen.
So what do you think? Is this cool or what? Yeah? You know, political philosophy aside, a practical benefit of being at least somewhat friendly with the Great Khans is access to Jack and Diane, because they're both in the top tier of all 3 magazine sections, which gives you a lot of flexibility with the layout. Smile. In fact, while we're here, when Kekata's following you, you can only ask her to pose when you're somewhere in this building, or maybe in Pa Rump, because otherwise you could use it to cheat, or it could break the game depending on where you are when you ask. And since we're here, and she didn't walk out on me when I started taking pictures of Jack's dick, no time like the present. Oh, cool. I didn't think we had enough relationship points to unlock new dialogue yet, but you have strong opinions on genetics. Can we talk about that some more?
Do you mean personally or professionally? Because I don't want to fight, and talking about pollination and splicing bores most people to tears.
Your society seems egalitarian on the surface, but the power and privilege are hereditary.
That's ridiculous. What would make you think that?
One family seems to hold most of the prominent positions.
Yes, that is troubling, but maybe not for the reason you think.
2 Mole Rats is the mayor, the most powerful position in the valley.
And we practically had to force it on him. For years he refused to even run, until Shelby finally talked him into it. The title comes with a few traditional responsibilities, but he doesn't have the authority to give anyone orders.
But Coyote's the blacksmith. He controls the supply of tools and weapons.
Hardly. Anyone can use the forge. Most people just prefer his work to their own because he has the most skill with a hammer.
Saffron maintains the archives and instructs the children.
There's a saying, those who can't do, teach.
She seems pretty can-do to me. Do I detect a little bit of jealousy?
I wasn't being catty. We're good friends. And she's a walking encyclopedia. If I had a question about genetics, she'd be the first person I'd ask. But her head is in the clouds. She likes old-world romances. On her pilgrimage, she wasn't paying attention and let something sneak up on her. She's lucky to be alive. Trust me, she's much better off in the library.
Yes, but knowledge is power.
I'm glad we agree. DNA took eons to program our taste buds, but we can just say fruit is good for you, rotting meat isn't. It's much more efficient. That's why we are so obsessive about preserving our ancestors' knowledge and building on it with every generation. Everyone has free access to all of it. Saffron just makes the best custodian because she's so curious about so many things.
Then what bothers you about it?
Olivia was an outsider. She had 3 children, which is a lot higher than the average among my people. And they are all very successful. You're the first outsider since then to stay in the village long enough to do more than rest and restock on supplies. In that same time, there have been dozens who never returned from their pilgrimage. Dead or just happier elsewhere. Doesn't matter. My people are losing genetic diversity at an alarming rate. If it continues, we'll eventually wind up inbred and feral.
Well, that's kind of a grim prognosis for a society that seems to be pretty much perfect, well, at least to me. Sounds like she's one of the people who aren't 100% on board with 2 Mole Rats' isolationist policies. Well, I know how to cheer you up. Why don't you pose for my magazine?
Sure, but you have to promise you won't print anything about the valley. I know we said we need more immigration, but I meant more people like you, not a pack of raiders or worse, 100 drunk tourists.
I promise. No one outside the valley will know where you're really from.
All right, let's do it.
You know, I might have jumped the gun on this. In Quo Vadis, there's a potential companion named Zen, and if you persuade her to do a photo shoot when you first meet her, she's in the bottom tier for attitude bonus because she isn't a very good model at that point. But her dream is to be a professional dancer, which is why she comes to Lollipops in the first place. And if you encourage her, she'll practice and take lessons from the other dancers and stuff. And if you wait until she gets good before you do a photo shoot, she gets promoted to the middle tier for attitude bonus. And she's romanceable. if you sleep with her before you do the photo shoot, she gets promoted to the top tier. I don't know if Kekata works that way, but if she does, I might be losing out on some bonus magazine sales by doing this now. She's obviously good, but she isn't filthy, so you can tell she's in the middle tier. Not that Courier Jeff would ever take it for granted that he's eventually going to sleep with a woman he's dating, but Player Jeff knows what's going to happen. Where are you going? I don't think she gets pissed if you ask her to pose. Oh, I know. Models usually teleport back to wherever the persuasion dialogue happened, but that was right here in the basement. Anyway, I need some water and sleep and probably food, so let's go back to the house for a bit. Oh, this is awkward. I'm not being a perv or anything, but I really need to take a nap.
Don't be long, prickly pear.
Make yourself at home. I'll be up in a couple of hours, and then we can grab a bite to eat and get back on the road. And what's in the fridge? Hey, I'm having a casserole. You want some? Spicy. It's really good. Let's get going.
After you, prickly pear.
I convinced the Great Khans to leave the Mojave.
Maybe they'll be devoured by giant scorpions. All sorts of things could happen to them out there. That's 1 down, 4 to go.
No, I did it to save them, and I'm sure they'll be fine. And the boomers idolize me. They'll support whatever I do.
Really? Talk about diplomatic skills. I mean, just not getting blown up was a success. Now they'll only blow up the right sorts of people. That's what matters.
And the Brotherhood likes me too. You can leave them alone.
Okay. Consider them forgotten. Along with the projections that predict they'll be our biggest enemy. Forgotten!
I don't remember talking to Marjorie and Mortimer, but you can leave the White Glove Society alone.
Say no more, say no more. If you say they're good, they're good.
And I know I haven't done anything with the Emeritus, because if you complete How Little We Know, you get a unique dialogue option with the thugs who are chasing Angie, and I didn't get that option. What do you know about them?
I remember that Benny used to pay a receptionist at Gamora for information. Maybe she knows something.
There's How Little We Know. Know anything else about them?
Just that Benny didn't like them. He talked on and on about how they couldn't be trusted. And this is coming from Benny. He hated their casino, said it was tacky, and he thought they were up to something, because he said they always are.
I'd better check into that some more. I've played blackjack there, and I dealt with the thugs that were after Angie, and that's it. Oh, shit! I still owe them money. I'd better go over.
Whenever you get around to it, we'll be just fine.
Well, there's JT. What's up? Let's see what you have for sale. Step into my office. Somebody reminded me in the comments a few weeks ago that he restocks hand-rolled cigarettes, so thank you for that. Enjoy. See ya. Better living through chemistry. All right, Gamora.
Be sure to check out the courtyard. Some of the hottest asses in New Vegas shaking out there.
That's my plan. Any thoughts on this place? No? Okay.
Well, what do we have here, huh? Let me guess. You've heard about the mistress who makes all your fantasies come true. So you followed the call of your desires, all the way to the arms of Joanna. Moi. Now that you've found me, I wonder, do you have what it takes?
I guess I just want to ask you some questions.
All right, honey. What do you want to know?
I want you to pose for the magazine, but apparently that's not an option.
I'll see you soon, I'm sure.
Some characters only have the option to pose if you've talked with them at least once previously, enough that I assume it's intentional.
Hey there, sugar. I'm Dazzle. What can I do for you? Or to you? You're so handsome, I might just give you a discount.
Same with her, apparently. Never mind.
Don't be a stranger.
However, there's nothing stopping me from just bailing out and talking to her again.
Back again? Did you miss me?
Here we go. Why don't you pose for my porno magazine? 50 caps and you don't even have to screw anybody.
50 caps? Fine. Let's rock.
I assume it's because you're supposed to at least know them before you ask them to pose, which makes sense for like Lacey or Jazz Wilkins. But if there are any two characters in the game you ought to be able to just ask the first time you meet them, it's Dazzle and Joanna. For them, this is light duty compared to their usual customers. But anyway, Joanna's usually over here after the first time she force greets you. Nope.
Hey there, gorgeous. I knew you'd be back soon enough.
Yep. Why don't you pose for my porno magazine? 50 caps and you don't even have to screw anybody.
Fine. Are you ready?
After you get so far in the Omerta quests, she either gets killed or leaves town, so I wanted to get this out of the way before I do anything else.
You know you want a piece of this. Give me some sugar.
I don't think so. I'm seeing someone, and even if I weren't, you're almost as much of a wreck as Fiona. Speaking of which, now that I shot them, I kinda don't care what happens to the Omertas, so I think I'll just skip all that and tell Yes Man he can leave them alone. Well, here they are.
Fuck not at home. Must be cozy up there in the Lucky 38.
You have the money?
This seems outrageous, but if Angie averaged one customer a day, it would pay off in about a year. Here you go.
Well, all right. Enjoy your purchase.
I think that's a bug, because they told me I had 24 hours, and it's been way longer than that. I think they're supposed to come to lollipops and shake you down if you're late, which would actually have been better, since I could have just killed them there. I really didn't want to get into a massive gunfight in a casino with nothing but my holdout weapons. More importantly, it would have trashed my reputation with the strip. Alright, where to next? Actually, there's plenty more of the strip Kekata hasn't seen, so we can put up some posters while we're at it. Sarah's in a 90. Forgot about that. Long story. Anyway, there are only two places on the strip you can put up a poster, and this is one of them. Given Larry Slater's notorious history with Vault Tech, Sarah is happy to display a flyer alongside her other Vault memorabilia. Yeah, if you sell her enough Vault suits and pick the right dialogue options, she'll sleep with you, and if you pickpocket her Vault suit off her while she's in bed with the nightie equipped, she'll wear it forever.
Well, well, if it isn't the Vault Explorer himself. Welcome back.
Hopefully Kekata just thinks this is how hotel owners on the strip normally dress. Anyway, here's a thought. Lollipops is open under new management. Namely, me.
I see.
And you're the de facto overseer of the last operational vault.
I guess, yeah.
Well, technically, our companies still have an unresolved legal dispute.
Hey, who says I can't fix that?
Let's start a new chapter for Vault Tech and Lollipops. Pose for me.
Really? That just blows my top.
Cool. We can shoot here if you don't want to travel.
Sure, let's do it.
Kekata hasn't had anything to say about the lobby, or what's going on in the lobby, but she might have something to say in the vault itself.
Morning.
I already took the tour, I don't know, a long time ago, but hopefully it doesn't matter if we're not with Sarah. We'll just head down there and see.
It's kind of cramped, but at least it's well lit. I guess if you were born here, it wouldn't have been too bad, considering the alternative.
All right, I guess we don't need to go see the rest of it then. It just occurred to me that I never explained Kekata's affinity system. It works kind of like vanilla companions. If you take her someplace she likes or find interesting, it scores relationship points. There are more locations for her and the thresholds are different, but after a certain number of points, it unlocks new relationship dialogue. She'll also comment on some locations that don't score points because she doesn't like them, like the Legion Fort, so you can't measure your progress by just counting the comments she makes. But if you pay attention, you can usually tell which ones are good and which ones are bad. Despite the image of one of Vault-Tech's infamous adversaries at the peak of his career, Michael allows a flyer to be posted here. Perhaps he finds inspiration in the knowledge that justice was eventually served. Perhaps he just likes Dee's bikini. At any rate, the workshop doesn't appear to get many visitors, but those it does receive tend to be wealthy and influential, exactly the sort of clientele Lollipops needs. And, while we're here...
I have no argument with art, but this just seems like a pretty silly use of technology.
Okay, I stand corrected. I have no idea whether that one
Morning.
scored a point or not. Here's Kate.
Welcome back, friend. What can I do for you?
Photography is addictive. I'm publishing a magazine called Lollipops. Heard of it?
What are you playing at?
You certainly appreciate the value of publicity, especially if you ever branch out on your own.
Yeah, maybe you could throw some business my way.
Mutually beneficial proposal. You pose, I shoot. I sell magazines, you get free advertising.
All right, I got something to show you.
Yeah, I know. She's not very enthusiastic. But she's pretty and kind of famous, so she'll sell pretty well. And I didn't have to pay her because I passed the barter check.
Welcome back. What can I do for you this time?
It would suck to be you. It's bad enough you do all the work and get no credit, but that's not all.
Really?
Yep. The more they expect you to be good, the more you want to be bad. But you don't dare let it slip.
Right.
It's sad, because you really just want to lose that dress and shake your ass like a showgirl.
You're making it hard to like you, you know?
And with high NCR rep, it doesn't matter if you like me. You have an itch and I found the spot. Admit it.
Don't get my hopes up.
Too late, I think. You just have to take the day off, follow me to Lollipops, and live the dream.
Talk later. Get moving.
Now, she's pretty good, don't you think? No thoughts on the Ultralux? What, the high ceilings? All right, let's talk to Marjorie.
Welcome to the Ultralux. I do hope it exceeds your every expectation.
Well, apparently I have talked to her before, but no modeling option.
Ta-ta!
That's disappointing. I don't see Walter and Ethel either. I guess I did the White Glove quests and forgot. Ethel's okay for a rancher theme issue, but Marjorie's an elite cover girl. With her, you can publish 2 perfect score issues with Residents of the Strip, so not having her sucks. Yeah, that's the disadvantage of starting Coito with a save game instead of a new game. Some models will be dead or otherwise unavailable. Oh well, let's go put up some posters in Freeside. Okay, heads up. Freeside is one of my favorite neighborhoods. There are a lot of good people here, but every time I walk up that street, I get attacked by thugs. So just be on your guard. Probably about here. No? Really? No thugs spawned. She's looking at me like, yeah, right, your neighborhood's so tough, but you love it, like you're from the Bronx or something.
You know, some people say the king never actually existed. They say he was a fictional front for Carl Perkins, like Shakespeare was for Bacon.
Hey, you're the one who's been going around helping people around here, right? The king says to keep up the good work, and said to give you this.
Thanks. Hopefully she'll be a little bit impressed with that. Make up for my senior moment in the Ultra Lux. Yeah, these are still up too.
Hello.
Hello. We'll give her a minute to look around and see what she thinks. She doesn't always comment right away when you first arrive at a new location. There's the other poster that I never bother to come over and look at. No thoughts on the followers? That's a shame. They're probably my favorite faction in the game. I like the Great Khans, I like the Kings, but I am all about these guys. There's one. There weren't as many torn down as I expected. Actually, let's go out this way. I don't know exactly what the threshold to unlock the next prostitute is, but if we put up maybe 15 more, get down to around 20 left in the inventory, that should be plenty. Should be able to do that pretty easily in East Vegas.
Things are tense on the Strip right now. The head of one of Mr. House's families was killed.
No fiends gonna spawn in? That actually kind of sucks. Yeah, my character in the old walkthrough tried to avoid any and all danger, but I actually want to see how Kekata does in a fight. You can get rid of 5 total in the Crimson Caravan, but unlike the Mormon Fort, you have to put them up individually. We get a 2 in the office, but the 3 out here you have to put up 1 at a time. The Crimson Caravan seems willing to support anything that promotes commerce in the New Vegas region. Of course they do. There's the poster. Another one goes over here by Blake's merchant stall. By the way, I could set up magazine distribution with Blake, but that's what I did the last time, so I want to do it the alternate way this time. That requires some of the saloon upgrades, and I don't want to do that until I buy out Hilly's stake in the business. So bottom line, I'm going to have a lot of film in the can before I actually publish any magazines. Third outside poster goes over here at the other gate, and let's go put the other 2 in the office. And 2 posters removed. The other one is over here at the other end of the office. And I guess we can hit the clinic next.
I have to tell Coyote about this. It totally proves his theories about currency.
Really? Because this seems like pretty much the polar opposite of the economy in Pahrump. Or maybe not. The buyers and sellers at either end don't know each other, so the caravan's kind of a proxy for the trust relationship, so they still negotiate what they think is fair. It's just indirect. Yeah, I'm kind of into economics. I'm the total package when it comes to geekdom. This place seems to attract a steady business, and no one objects if you put up a flyer. And I think we can put one up at Gunrunners. This location is somewhat protected from the elements, and there is sufficient foot traffic in the area for the flyer to be seen by a reasonable number of passers-by. Yep, there it is. Thoughts? Okay. And next I want to head over to the Sharecropper Farms. That's a kind of good news, bad news situation. You can put up, I don't know, maybe a dozen posters there. Maybe not quite that many, but a lot. But most of them go in the greenhouses, and you've got to go into each one individually, so it's kind of a hassle. But if you don't have a toady, definitely worth it. And there's never anybody in them, so you can still a ludicrous amount of maize and other food and ingredients for campfire recipes. Many of the sharecroppers find their arrangement with the NCR unsatisfactory and might prefer employment at Lollipops to their current situation. And let's help ourselves to some maize. This is stealing, and if I were NCR, I wouldn't do it, but to me, they're foreign imperialist occupiers, and this is nonviolent resistance. It would totally suck if I ever ran into another courier and he helped me get back some of my memories and it turned out I actually was from the NCR, but what are the chances of that, right? I think you can put one up outside the barracks and one inside, but you have to do them separately. Yeah, one poster removed, there it is. So we'll go inside. And there's the other one. Well, that was tedious, but productive. And while we're in the neighborhood, might as well put up some in the Aerotech office park. And that'll definitely be enough to unlock a new pro. And I always forget, do you have to go inside the buildings, or is it like the old Mormon fort? Well, try it. Few of the refugees who seek assistance here have any other employment prospects, so the NCR reluctantly allows you to place one help wanted poster on the bunk tent and one in each of the occupied buildings. As an added bonus, NCR personnel frown on vandalism, so you don't need to worry about these posters being torn down. Oh, I want them to be torn down. Damn it, I forgot about that. And of course it's all three.
If the resources of an entire nation can't do any better for its people than this, why bother having nations?
Right on, girl. You know, I didn't want to judge a book by its cover and assume you were an anarchist just because you have a mohawk, but I'm totally okay with that. All right, I'm going to call it a day. Next week we can recruit a new pro, learn some more about Kekata, maybe see how good she is in combat, and figure out why the main quest is still open even though we don't have any current objectives for it. See you then.